Just shut up, stop talking, cease and desist. There's a good girl. Girl, 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 girl.
Moisturize me, moisturize me.
So before we even start, there needs to be a little bit of set dressing that we do.
No! Why is there another pair?
Don't know what you're talking about.
I can't believe there's another pair. I don't know how many you've got, but that's enough.
We'll see.
I was going to say, like, the pair hasn't moved, we're safe, and now it's spawned.
Now there's another. But they're smaller.
It's a much smaller pair.
So, welcome back to Never Ever Eat Pears. We are trying, but...
We're trying, but they're forcing themselves upon us.
Oh, no. And we are going into episode 6 of the 12th Doctor's run, The Caretaker.
The Caretaker.
This one is by Gareth Roberts and, once again, Stephen Moffat.
Yes.
And the note that I've written makes me sound just horrible. But...
Read it.
Okay. I'll read it verbatim.
Yeah.
Here we go.
You have to.
Danny and Clara's relationship seems to be going annoyingly well. And despite not seeing them patch things up.
I mean, it's true.
It is true.
It's true.
But we get a fantastic montage at the beginning of the episode with Clara bouncing between adventures with the Doctor and trying to have dates and moments with Danny.
Yep. And apparently succeeding because it keeps happening.
I don't know if this was... I don't know if you watched the next time between Time Heist and The Caretaker, and this might just be my mind in the constant gutter, but they use a clip where Clara's sitting in front of a mirror and she's like profusely sweating and saying something to the effect of, I can't do this
keep
anymore.
doing this, yeah.
I just thought, like...
It was a clip. It was a clip to choose, wasn't it? You're like, really?
Yeah.
Of all of them?
I mean, Doctor Who doesn't necessarily hide that people have sex.
No, yeah. I mean,
but I feel like that's what they were trying to hint at, and it was like, oh no, she just went for another run.
Yeah, just went for a run. But yeah, it was very poorly. I don't know, poorly or intentionally chosen.
I like to think it was intentionally misleading,
Yeah.
And just be like, oh no, maybe Clara isn't having great sex. She's just running a lot. And yeah, so we get. I think my favourite one is that the Doctor takes her to see a planet of fish people.
Yeah.
And then she gets into a cab and she's just soaked.
Absolutely soaked.
Got seaweed in her hair.
And passes it off as a freak shower.
Yeah.
And Danny, who we're led to believe is intelligent, just accepts it.
Yeah, I mean, you do see in the shot that there's a bit of rain in the air. But,
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's some
the seaweed bit is the bit that I would then be like, oh no, I have follow-up questions.
Yeah, I want to know why there is seaweed in your hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he just accepts it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
And so aren't we very quickly thrown into the idea that this episode's going to be featured around Parents' Evening at Cold Hill School? It is Cold Hill School.
Yeah, Cold Hill School, yeah.
Cold Hill School.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, the Doctor lands in Clara's flat, but then when Clara goes into the TARDIS, he's like, oh,
yeah, he's like, no, go away.
No adventures today.
Yeah.
I'm just here to tell you that.
Yeah. Plot.
Yes. He couldn't have left that scrawled on a note on a table. He just had to land there and then be like, oh no, adventures today. And also, surely Clara should have been like, bullshit, because time machine.
Yeah. You've got time.
Today is any day and whatever order you want.
Yeah.
So you can be constantly available or constantly busy, depending on how you manage that.
Yes. Yeah. All just plot.
And there's a bit of a fun exchange, which I suppose was only really brought into Doctor Who from Silence in the Library, when the Doctor clicks his fingers to open the door and then she clicks it to shut it again.
Yeah.
And
then doesn't she like leave
and then
bursts back in and he turns away the screen like a proper little naughty boy.
Yeah. Again, it's quite a childish moment from the 12th Doctor.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm not doing anything, no.
I promise.
And and then it cuts to school, and the head teacher, I guess, is saying something to the effect of the cleaner's gone off sick unexpectedly, but we've got a replacement in. Oh, he should be here, but he's running a bit late. Oh, that's him at the door.
And voila.
And voila, it is the 12th Doctor.
But in a new coat.
He is, yes, which is, if you don't know, him in deep cover.
Yeah, that is deep cover.
And I love that is immediately questioned, that very point, and he's like, yeah, I'm in deep cover, and she just yelling at him, you're
just wearing a different coat.
Yeah. And he's not being particularly subtle either, because he winks at her as well. I think it's before the titles.
Yeah.
To which then you could argue that would just be a nice moment for us, but then Danny does bring it up. It's an in-universe wink.
Yeah.
And she's just like, oh, I just think it's, it's just a friendly wink.
Welcoming wink. Who does a welcoming wink?
Yeah, well, I was going to ask, have you ever
I have never welcoming winked. I have never been welcome winked. It's ridiculous.
Not to assume, but I don't know if I'd be like... If I get the wrong impression if someone winked at me.
I don't know if I'd be put at ease with a wink.
No. Maybe it could have been more cheeky or something, but it was just it was very kind of I don't know.
It was strange.
Yeah.
But it's weird. I always quite like it when Peter Capaldi smiles in character as Doctor Who, because it's so rare. And then when he does, it's this big, massive, cheesy grin that he just looks like a psychopath, and it's fantastic. And I just think it's brilliant.
It's the smile that carries death in its way.
Yeah, it's the crazed smile, and it's fantastic. And he does his little wink, and then he does this big old smile, and it's just like, oh my god.
Now, I don't know if this was wrong of me, but I had a bit of time to burn, so I did also watch nearly all of the episode that follows on from this.
Kill the Moons.
Yeah. Clara has a bit of a change in priorities from this episode to that one, where in this one she immediately latches onto the fact that the Doctor being there means that there is a threat and therefore children are in danger, and please, you need to make that a priority.
Yeah.
And yet in the following episode, without any spoilers, even though she does bring it up, she seems initially she seems very nonchalant about putting a child in a very uncontrollable environment.
Very dangerous situation.
But no, we can get that.
We can chat about that next time.
Yeah. That
has a lot to unpack, that episode.
See, so I haven't finished the episode, but I was worried as I was going through it, because as I understand it, it's a universally hated episode within the fandom.
Yeah.
At least with the bit I got up to, I didn't think it was that.
I don't think it's as bad as people think it is.
No.
I enjoyed it. I understand where people get upset with it, but I think it's pretty decent.
Yeah. But we'll get there.
We'll get there.
So I think it then cuts to a couple of kids just on a street, and a police officer comes up to them and says, questions if they're part of the school, you should be in school, sends them on their way. And then he hears a load of clattering inside this dilapidated building or whatever, and goes in to investigate.
Assumes it's another kid.
Yeah. And continues to assume when this very kind of robotic voice comes out of nowhere. And I understand that he's uninitiated when it comes to video games and stuff, but that is a hell of a speaker system that this kid has on his Game Boy.
Yeah. That is something where you're like, oh, this man's a policeman. He's supposed to be looking after everybody. Can't recognise that as not being a kid's toy. Yeah, no, very strange.
What do you think of the... I annoyingly haven't taken a note of what this thing's called.
Scovot Splitzer.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Allow me to cover my back when I fuck up there. What do you think of the design of this death machine? That's supposedly the most dangerous killing machine in the universe.
I think it's clumsy.
Yeah?
I think it's a little bit of... what stuff have we got left in the shed, and cobble it together.
It's a little bit early 2000s when you look at... It's what I kind of also relate to. So, as much as I love K9 is super retro.
Oh, yeah.
And don't worry, I'm not going to dig into his retro design.
Yeah, how dare you?
I'm not. Promise. But, and I don't know, I'm assuming you are aware of the K9 spin-off series that was done in America.
Yeah.
Now it's that design that I'm thinking of, and it's the kind of early 2000s grey robot dog thing that was always given at Christmas and things like that. This also feels very much like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just, I don't know. I think it's clunky and a bit clumsy for being the deadliest killing machine, which again in itself is a clumsy thing to call it, because surely
Yeah.
a Dalek is one of the
That I
most
was about to
deadly
say,
killing
yeah,
machines,
this-
even though I suppose you could argue that the Dalek is the gloopy boy on the inside, so he's an organic killing machine. I don't know how
True.
into this we're getting.
Well, that sounds like we're trying to like cover up for the writers. We're
Yeah.
like, oh, it's the most dangerous thing in the universe apart from this.
Apart from this, and this, and this, and this. Yeah.
It may have been what they were going for. This is the most dangerous, purely robotic.
Machine,
Yeah.
rather than life form. I don't know.
Yeah,
Either way, yeah.
but
I don't know. What did you think?
It's a thing.
It's a thing. It's a crab. It's a crab with a body on top.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I didn't feel. I think it would have benefited from what I like to call the Cloverfield formula, where we maybe don't see all
Don't
of it.
see it. Yeah.
We maybe just see like a leg, because initially that's how it starts off. When, spoiler alert, PC idiot gets absolutely disintegrated.
yeah,
and we get a
demolished.
beautifully harrowing moment where you see just a hand just fall down.
Yeah,
like, it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
crumbling away.
Yeah.
So he got.
Didn't drop his torch or something. I can't remember. Either
Well,
way.
he's dropping
empty
it.
hand.
He's dropping hands.
Dropping. He's dropping hands.
Dropping limbs. And yeah, a beautifully
yeah.
harrowing bit where it's just pieces. I think it then kind of cuts back to the
go back to school, don't we?
And aren't we seeing like a lesson with Clara?
Yeah, she's teaching English, isn't she? Yeah.
I can't remember the book. Is it Pride and Prejudice?
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And the Doctor scales up. I think it's quite
Yeah.
a height that he.
It looks like he's quite a high way up. Yeah. Climbs up the ladder on the outside, cleaning the windows. Haha.
Do caretakers do that?
I've never seen a caretaker at school clean windows like that.
No, I've never seen them clean windows.
I've
I
not
don't
seen them clean.
I'm sure there are some. Lovely
I'm sorry
caretakers.
if there are some,
Yeah.
you know,
All of our
caretakers.
audience but one are caretakers in schools. We've alienated all but one of our audience. No, I'm sure there are
Either
some,
way, that is definitely not what he's doing.
but if there
put
are
it
some
at that.
caretakers out there that have to clean windows and have to scale heights, one, you deserve a raise,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
I think you too should also butt in lessons. If you see bits that are being taught wrong, you should
You
know,
get in there.
You correct them, because those kids are being led astray.
Yeah, even if you don't think it's wrong, just chuck
butt
something
in.
in.
Yeah.
Why not?
Be a disinformation.
Yeah, exactly. Be a disruptive influence.
Much like one of the kids in this episode.
Yeah.
I see what you did there. And yeah, the Doctor's dropping like bits of bats, and Clara immediately assumes that he went on some timey-wimey adventure. She just starts blurting stuff which she shouldn't
Yeah.
really be just saying.
She's just completely lost remembrance of the fact that she's in a classroom full of kids.
Yeah.
And just
Starts, oh, you went on a...
aggressively shouting at this poor caretaker that the kids assume. And, you know, this little old guy that's just cleaning his windows, she starts shouting at him about having jolly time with Jane Austen or whatever.
Yeah. And he's like, no, I just read
I just read the book.
I just read the book.
At which point the kids laugh, which is fantastic and very kid-like, because
Yeah.
they've been like, aha, teachers just got owned.
And he gets sent away. And isn't there, prior to Clara leaving the classroom, one of the kids asks, what about homework? And she turns around and she says, like, who asked for
Who
homework?
asks
What,
for
an
homework?
amateur?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I feel like, not to oust myself, but I feel like at that age, I probably would have been that kind
I
of
would have
kid,
been that kid.
which, much to the absolute dismay of my fellow classmates.
Yeah.
Because I'm too honest, and I just like, you
Yeah.
were going to set us homework. I know you were.
Same, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have done exactly the same.
Oh,
Mainly
no.
because I'd have been worried that if we'd have come to our next lesson and they'd have
yeah.
gone, why haven't you done your homework? You're like, you didn't give us the homework. But, then you can't fight your corner because the teacher's right, because the teacher's the teacher.
But I think then we also would have forgot that we have an entire class worth of witnesses that would have been like backing us.
Yeah.
And quite happy to do so, probably.
Yeah.
And just forgetting about that. Yeah.
But yeah.
Unfortunately, we are both.
Go you, kid. Go you, homework kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They want to be educated.
Yeah, they do.
And don't we get to see... Because Clara's very much wanting to kind of apprehend whatever the Doctor's doing and having these interactions with her peers. Isn't he like working on like an electrical generator, and he's got Danny Pink with him, and insert teacher name here. I know they give him a name.
Adrian.
Wow, you are...
I'm sorry.
Oh, no,
I'm on
you're
it.
brilliant. Thank you.
Adrian's there as well. Yeah, because Danny's been quite open with Clara that he doesn't trust the Doctor right now, does he? Because he is going by John Smith at this point, isn't he?
Yeah, I
He's
mean,
like-
I don't know if the initial... So I think the trust starts to be kind of questioned, or at least the likability of or even the want to work alongside with this individual when the doctor can't get it into his head that someone who has a military background is a maths
A maths teacher, yeah, not a PE teacher.
Yeah. Which again, it doesn't paint the Doctor in a great light, does it? Because he's assuming, and not only is doesn't he say something to the effect of, "I'm just not retaining that."
Yeah, I can't retain that information.
I hear you saying it, but it's
not going in,
not making sense.
Which kind of leads into the kind of, I think they very heavily autism ADHD coded this incarnation, like, because later on down the line with Clara, she's got his little cards to try and figure out what he needs to say. So I think it's quite a nice little bit of coding for that.
And so we've got Adrian there, and
Adrian looks very familiar.
yes, they do. And oh man, so Adrian and Clara, I think there's like an exchange where Clara reminds the Doctor that she's going on some serious dates with someone.
Yeah, who is at the school.
Yeah. And then the Doctor sees her walking away with Adrian, and once again, it's probably his vainest moment.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
it
probably
really is.
one of the Doctor's vainest moments, because he's like, of course.
Of
How
course
could it
it's
not
him.
be anyone that looks like my past, arguably far more attractive incarnation?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
And,
Because, I mean, like, the guy looks like Matt Smith, and then they've obviously also dressed him up.
yeah, down to the
Exactly
bow tie.
down to the bow tie, and it's brilliant. And then don't they walk off, and he's struggling to remember I don't remember. They're still having their conversation.
Yeah, he's following them for a bit of
and then Adrian struggles to remember something, and it's just proven that he's not quite good with his words.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's quite sweet.
I don't know if they ever hint at any point that Adrian has any kind of attraction towards Clara, but
Don't think so. I think they were just a couple of English teachers
Yeah.
having a chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a beautifully vain moment for the 12th Doctor. And doesn't it then cut to the night time when the Doctor's doing his like scouting out bit? Oh no, wait, we've got a little bit.
We meet the disruptive influence.
We do,
first,
yes.
don't we?
Because she goes into where the Doctor's parked the TARDIS in
The Caretaker's room.
It's huge.
It's just ridiculous. I've never seen anything like
We've
it.
gone from, and this is something that a little bit of a shout out to one of my favourite Doctor Who rewatch shows, Worst of the Worst, where they openly bring to light in the very first episode, Rose, where I can't remember the name of the janitor or whoever, but his office is in the electrical cupboard.
Yeah.
So he is in a permanent office of death.
Yeah.
But now we've gone from not having enough office space and just sticking him in the scariest cupboard in the entire building to now giving him this huge expanse of space where it's not just a TARDIS in there, but it's a whole raft of shelves and workbenches.
He's got
and
everything
stuff.
in there.
I mean, I know Coal Hill School is kind of like an olden style school, but still, that's a huge amount of space
a lot of
they
space.
are not utilising.
Yeah. For a caretaker. Not to say that they don't deserve the space, but it's like, it's
Even then, that's
it's expansive.
That's almost a whole building. Just for and she goes in there looking for some
paper towels.
I was going to say paper towels, but then my ex working in retail brain kicked in. As like, they were looking for some blue roll.
The blue roll, that's what we use at work. Just blue roll, they need some blue roll, clearly.
Yeah.
No. Paper towels because there's been a spillage.
Yes. Doesn't the Doctor say earlier in the episode that was something like, there was a scary spillage or
a sinister puddle?
Sinister
That's
puddle.
it.
Yes. Which is a wonderful line.
Which is quite nice when we go into meeting Bill later.
Yes.
Nice sinister puddle over there.
Bit of sizzle.
Oh.
And doesn't the Doctor say, "Didn't you read the sign? It said stay out," and it doesn't say that. It says go
away, humans.
And the Doctor says something to the effect of, "I'll never write a sign when you're angry."
When you're losing your temper,
I wish they smash cut to him doing that.
Going full Malcolm Tucker. Like,
Maybe if he just had a moment that had irritated him. Okay, this is a bit too niche, but maybe if he'd like remembered back to Elton. Paint slap knots. So.
But Port Courtney, she's coming for paper towels.
Yeah.
Get sent on her merry way.
Yeah.
And then Clara rocks up, doesn't she?
Yes. and they go into the TARDIS, and
He shows her his
invisibility watch.
Invisibility watch.
Yes, and that kind of then leads into the evening scene, right?
Yeah.
When the Doctor's laying out the I guess like the sensory things,
Yeah.
the vague science in order to beat
Get the thing. Yeah.
And I'm so sure it's in the same night, isn't it, that the thing then comes into the school? Oh no, he goes to its
He goes and
hideout.
finds it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And brings it back. And Danny's still there because he doesn't. He's
Yeah,
a bit suspicious, isn't he?
Yeah, but that's a long. I mean,
And he's taken one of the things away, hasn't he?
he's done that twice. So he found one like under a
Yeah.
light switch, and then when he goes to, I guess, try and find the Doctor, he finds one in like a flower basket.
Yeah, and takes that out as well.
And then the Doctor goes back. He's, like you say, leading it into the school, and he goes into the assembly hall and sees that all these light things that he's put on chairs are all red, and he goes that beautifully, like,
Yeah.
why
No,
are
no,
they
no,
red?
no,
Why
no,
are
no,
they-
no,
why
no,
are
no,
they
no.
red? And doesn't Danny's the first one to walk into?
I think
the
he
assembly
is,
hall
yeah.
And is about to ask him what's going on, and then this thing comes in and starts just
Blasting everything.
Yeah.
Blasting holes in the chairs.
Those chairs stay remarkably upright.
They do, considering they've had a whole chunk
There's
taken
even a
out of them.
close-up done of them, and you've still got some of the backs that are implausible or just inexplicably elevated, despite the fact they should have just
They should have just
in.
crumbled away.
Those chairs, I know, are sturdy, but they're not that sturdy.
The sturdiness of the school chair.
Yeah, you can't possibly break them.
No.
And the Doctor does use some kind of vague science to send this thing away, but only temporarily.
Yeah.
And then has a real go at Danny.
Yeah, he's furious, isn't he?
Clara turns up kind of during that.
Yeah. And it kind of holds Danny out of the way of the
Yeah.
big vortex.
The big golden tornado of thing.
Of time.
And then I don't even know why she bothers.
Oh,
Where
what?
she's-
Trying to dress it all up?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's a play.
Yeah, it's a play with great special effects.
No. It would be slightly more plausible, and even then it would still be completely implausible, if Danny didn't himself work at the school and understand, probably quite in depth, the abilities of the students
Yeah.
and the inner workings of that school.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause-
Honestly, I don't know why she did it. Again, it's another character that we're led to believe is very intelligent, comes out with this crap.
I know it's in a moment of panic, but you take a moment and just be like, no, there's no coming back from this.
Yeah,
I just kind of have to.
We're done.
To which, thankfully, Danny isn't like, oh, okay, oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's actually stumped, isn't he?
Yeah, and he does start to question it, and Clara then just finally
starts reeling everything off, doesn't she?
Yeah, which I suppose maybe there's a middle ground instead of just saying everything.
And the poor Doctor's just standing there going, all right, this is happening. And
Yeah.
it's just,
And he kind of goes along with it, because doesn't he reveal the TARDIS from behind the stage curtain?
Yeah.
And Danny has his kind of bigger on the inside moment where he checks both sides of the TARDIS and kind of goes in and out of it.
Yeah.
And, so I can't remember what kind of causes this altercation other than the stress of the situation, but Danny starts to compare the Doctor to a sergeant or a general.
Yeah.
And he's kind of egging him on, because every single time the Doctor tells him to do something, he replies it with the very kind of like, yes, sir.
Yeah.
And then says to Clara, like, look at him, that's who he is now. He's the one who kind of, we're the ones who go over the trenches, but he's the one who kind of starts the fire.
Yeah.
Is it ever said in Doctor Who whether the Doctor was some kind of general during the Time War?
I don't remember.
Because he has led people into battle before. I mean, A Good Man Goes to War. He was kind of...
Yeah, he was very much the leader
orchestrating
there,
that.
wasn't he?
But outside of that, in terms of war larger scale,
I don't think so. I don't know.
I don't know if it's just towards him as like an older iteration, and that's the kind of assumption that Danny's making with this older iteration. But I've never really seen him as like a general.
I don't think so. I think Danny's probably just going with the fact that he comes across as very much in charge of the situation and wants to be in charge of the situation. And I suppose very stern about it.
Yeah, and I suppose, like we've talked about in other episodes, quite cold about the situation as well. There's very little.
Yeah, at no point did he ask Danny or Clara if they were okay.
Yeah,
he was just like carrying on and being cross.
Oh yeah, and specifically at Danny.
Danny for ruining everything.
Yeah, saying something to the effect of like, "Oh, I had the matter in hand until you blundered in."
And blundered in, took things that didn't belong to you, and blah blah blah.
And now scary crab chair death robot thing is now he's seen me, he scanned me. I'm going to have to like think about
something completely different
in order to just figure that out.
Very spiteful, isn't he? Really towards him.
Yeah, and
is this at the point as well where he's finally realised that this is Clara's boyfriend rather than the handsome one in the bow tie, as he calls him?
Yes. I think that is what, and I think that one might be.
Yeah, because he says he's gonna like wipe his memory or whatever because he's having too much of a panic about it, and then Clara's like, "Whoa, no, this is my boyfriend."
Yeah,
and then it's like, "What? Not bow tie man?" Yeah,
yeah. How could it not be me?
How could it not be me? Yeah.
And again, it doesn't paint the Doctor in a particularly good light because he questions both elements of Danny. How could you date a PE teacher, and how could you date a soldier?
Yeah,
a soldier I can kind of understand, although also quite what's the word I'm looking for, where someone goes against the very thing that they are.
Hypocritical,
yeah. It's very hypocritical of the Doctor. The fact that he fought in the Time War and he has fought in other battles as well. But also quite demeaning to PE teachers.
Yeah, a little bit.
So again, it's slightly off topic, but still another 12th Doctor line where he randomly digs at something. So the series Class, where he features in the first episode, when he's saying his goodbye to the students that become the main protagonists in the series, and they're all kind of freaking out about how supposedly difficult defending Coal Hill School is going to be. And he's saying like, "Oh, it's nowhere near as difficult as all these exams that you have to take these days." And he's about to leave, and he comes back around the door and he says, "Apart from media studies, it's going to be harder than that." As an ex-media studies student, I feel targeted.
Completely bullied there.
Yeah. I mean, he's not wrong, but I just don't like
he doesn't need to think he's right.
I enjoyed those. Oh man, my secondary school days were amazing. I think it was always a Thursday, and I would have 2 periods of design technology, which was always working on like a CAD/CAM machine and building stuff from laser cutters and stuff like that.
Brilliant.
And then 3 consecutive hours of film studies.
Oh, what a day!
Yeah,
that is a good day.
Yeah, that's a good day. But yeah, it was for that very reason that media studies are hard, especially not in secondary school level.
No.
So Danny leaves the TARDIS, and there is a beautiful look that Clara gives. It's a very kind of defeated look. She looks really hurt.
Yeah.
She doesn't really... She just kind of looks at the Doctor, almost kind of puppy dog eye style, like, you have upset me, and there is no conversation now immediately that will fix this.
No, yeah.
And she just leaves.
Just leaves. Yeah.
Doesn't that then cut to the scene where... I don't know which apartment they're at, but it's Danny...
I think it's Danny's.
Danny's apartment. And he's kind of wanting Clara to be honest with him, but also wanting her to let him know if the Doctor ever pushes her too far.
Yeah.
And gives her quite a steep... What do you think about the ultimatum that he gives her?
See, I don't know. Like, I never know whether it's Danny's writing or directing that I'm not too keen. I've never been keen on him.
Okay,
but so then there's like this. Yes.
As an interaction, if we don't think about the writing or anything like that, just as an interaction, if you were a fly on the wall, or if you were a person seeing... Okay, this is quite an interesting way of pointing it. If these are 2 people that you care about, if you can imagine like a friendship group that you have or something like that, where there's a couple, if you saw this interaction happen in front of you, how would you feel about that?
I don't think I'd be cool with it.
No?
I know that obviously Danny's coming from a place of trying to keep her safe, but it is almost like being in a controlling relationship, isn't it? He's saying, no, you can't see this guy anymore if you want to still be with me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like it.
I mean,
but I get
it. It's more
that it's, you know...
You have to be completely... And I understand, absolutely, honesty 100% within a relationship. But sometimes, especially with... Like... if you look at singular moments in Doctor Who, some of them can be awful. So, for example, the moment where Rose gets her face removed by the wire in the Idiot's Lantern, and the moment where the Doctor gets taken. I don't know why I'm specifically gravitating towards this series, but where the Doctor gets taken by the little girl and fear her and into the picture and things like that, and she's left alone, or any number of moments that in their singular could be highly stressful moments, and if you were in that moment you might be like, oh no, I can't deal with this. But within the context of the adventures and the relationship and things like that, the Doctor sometimes pushing people too far is within the need of the moment, and once it's resolved then it doesn't seem so terrible. But I think Danny's perhaps looking at it quite two-dimensionally, where it's like, if the Doctor's asking you to, like, for example, I bet he'd consider this definitely asking too much of her in the very first episode, where he essentially runs off, or supposedly runs off without her.
Leaves her completely on her own.
That in itself is a horrible situation to be left in, but he was never going to let her die.
No. And you'd like to hope that the companion who has been with him for that long knows that.
And can make that judgment call. But from an outsider, they probably deem that as him asking too much.
Which is what I mean. Like, I can understand it. But I don't know. Just feels like a controlling element. She's an adult. She's making her decisions.
And it's her right to make it. And it's, you know, it's difficult to compare it to a real life scenario because
it's so out there.
I suppose the only way that we could kind of compare it to, and I suppose the comparison's already been made within universe, is if there was a couple and one of them was in the armed forces. And was putting themselves in danger perhaps daily or every so often. But it's difficult without Danny having the context. He's just looking at it from an outsider. And to Danny's credit, he has been lied to all the way up until this point. Again, but I am on your side of that. It doesn't look great on his part, and it does make him look controlling.
It's a very kind of me kind of situation. But then I do get it that, you know, she's been keeping secrets from him and all of that.
I think again in that moment,
neither of them have handled it particularly well, to be honest.
No, and I think were I in that situation, that might be, if not a really severe conversation, it might even be a breakup. Because it's like, I cannot deal with the life that you have. That's a me problem. I don't want to see you get hurt. I can't deal with that. And it's not. Although it's not fair for me to, it's never going to be fair for me to say you can't have that life, but I didn't know about it at all until this very moment. I just can't deal with it, and I have to take myself out of this situation. And then it's up to the other person how they want to handle that. I don't know if that's too much of a deep dive into me. That's how I personally would deal with that situation. I don't know if that's the right answer or not.
I don't think there is a right answer.
But I don't think like giving an
ultimatum is never.
No.
I don't think ever a good thing to do.
No.
Because you're always going to breed some resentment from that person you are giving the ultimatum to, and it's never necessarily going to go particularly pleasant.
No.
Pleasantly.
We
have deep dives for that bit, right?
That's what you do when you come to Never Never Eat Pears. You want those deep dives into the real
we
humanity element of Doctor Who, this silly little grubby sci-fi show. But as much as I say that, within the reboot era, and it's something that we never really saw in Classic Who, people are written better. Well, for the most part.
For the most part, I think they are written really well.
And that's something that's worth exploring. And again, it's something that we'll hopefully explore when we get to Jodie's run, where it's not written so well, and something that we'll look into when we eventually get to the now revival era that we're living through at the moment. So I can't remember. Have we ever discussed like favourite? I don't. It's a slight tangent, but like favourite New Who family that's outside of the immediate Tardis team.
I'm not sure if we have.
Do you have a favourite one?
Ooh. Not sure. I love Jackie.
Yeah, I think I'd immediately jump to Jax.
Jackie is fantastic. She's such a. So I don't know how kind of me this is. She's such a little bulldog mum. Like, she's perfect. She's just the right amount of feisty, but she totally is in love with her daughter and will do whatever it takes.
And she's not initially in love with the Doctor, but she would, because again, this is this beautiful respect thing where she's not happy about the relationship and how much it takes her daughter away, but she respects her daughter's decision.
Yeah.
And it's in Love and Monsters where she says, like, I will defend the two of them
Yeah.
with my life.
Yep.
Yeah, it
I
probably,
think she's really well written. She's a very ordinary person in the most loving way possible. She's so normal in this very abnormal setting, and it just works. I think Jackie. I don't think I even need to talk about anybody else. It is Jackie. Would you be Jackie?
I think there's a beautiful scene that comes to mind when, because it would be very easy for a writer, especially I think within the time period that all of that was written, where Hollywood films and things were still unfortunately living in the age of where a woman is helpless and they need a male figure. So when the new incarnation of Pete Tyler comes along, in other writing you would be like, oh, she's now just not subservient, but she's at his beck and call and he's always right. But when he makes a call, Jackie is still like, I have had 20 years without you.
I do not. Yeah. You could shut up.
Yeah, and it's again Jackie being just beautifully written.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any point where I look at Jackson, it's like this isn't.
No, I think every element of her character and storyline was right.
Yeah.
I don't think there was ever a moment where I was like, oh, she wouldn't say that, or oh, she wouldn't do that.
Do you know that there's a bit of a fan theory about Jackie having appeared earlier than Rose?
No.
So it's not the same actress.
Okay.
But it's a weirdly throwaway scene that is so inconsequential, it's almost alien in the episode itself. It is in the Seventh Doctor's... Seventh Doctor, am I right? Yeah, Seventh Doctor's last serial.
Okay.
And he's fighting the Master in like this weird green screen hell thing, and randomly teleports back to the TARDIS, and it's on this really inconsequential street. And then this lady walks up to the Doctor, and she is an spitting image of a young Jackie Tyler.
Really?
And she's like, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Bloody cats! Like, the Doctor's like, yeah, I heard it. And she's like, don't you think they do something about it? And the Doctor kind of goes all puppy-eyed, and it's like, yeah, but we try. And she's like, flipping cats. And then walks away. And it's like, this is just a random scene. I'll show it to you after we've finished recording.
I don't remember that.
But it's just this completely out of nowhere that has no impact on the episode whatsoever scene where this lady who looks unbelievably like Jackie.
I'm prepared to accept that that's true.
Yeah, it's in my head canon that's Jackie.
Yeah, that's mine.
Yeah.
Yep, I'll take that.
I don't know what reason it was to be in the episode at all, but it's definitely not the same actress, but it's just a fun
Random
bit of sizzle.
whoduness, yeah.
That's just
I like
that. Yeah, so, sorry, tangent, but so we're then taken back to the school, because isn't it Parents' Evening?
I think, we're then back at the Parents' Evening.
Yeah. And the doctors said that the paradigm shift or whatever he did is going to give them 3 days or something like that, which I guess
he's
falls
got
on
like
a
3 days to
weekend or
figure it out.
something. They're all given that as a hint of comfort where the kids aren't going to be at risk.
Yeah.
But it's not,
Nah.
because it's wrong.
Yeah.
And so I think I've experienced Parents' Evening like this, where the teachers aren't willing to be completely honest with parents that are a bit problematic.
Yeah.
And are bad influence as parents.
Yeah.
Is they're very proud of the fact that she's no longer a big bad influence. She's just now just
a general disruptive.
influence. And both Danny and Clara see the Doctor kind of like at the window beckoning,
Like panicking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they make very feeble excuses, and the Doctor's like, "Oh no, it's coming back."
Yeah, it's right here. Yeah.
And
Danny's already on the let's evacuate everybody front. Isn't he?
let's get
He's
bring in the army.
Let's tell everybody that it is happening.
Yeah, to which
Broadcast it.
The Doctor's doesn't Danny then say quite innocently, "Is there anything I can do?" And it's like, "Yeah, just leave us alone."
Yeah, because he just is telling him to shut up. He's not even entertaining the idea of getting the army. He's like, "Shut up, shut up,
Yeah.
shut up, shut up," and then leave us alone.
What's Unit doing at this point?
What is Unit doing at this point? Unit's having a lovely jolly holiday.
Because I think it was during Jodie's era, or there was a point where Unit went through a bit of a reform period where it was almost being shut down.
I don't remember when it was.
but I don't know if it's
I
quite
don't
this
think
early.
it's here. Yeah.
No, it's just that for whatever reason the
It's not
Doctor
there?
just doesn't want to bring in Unit, and it
Yeah.
seems odd, despite
Yeah.
the fact that Matt Smith's Doctor, for the most part, had quite a nice relationship with Unit and Kate, and
Yeah.
I don't know what the apprehension is.
I don't know.
Maybe again, I don't know if it's necessarily like this might be me generalizing, but is there sometimes an autistic trait where you, despite the fact you need help, you just refuse to ask for it?
Yeah.
That might be something that's bleeding through here, where the Doctor just doesn't want
Yeah,
to ask for
possibly.
help, even though
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
very
yeah.
aware that it might be good.
Maybe, yeah. Who
And
knows?
so this war machine re-teleports in, and I think it's he asked Clara to essentially be a distraction.
Yeah,
Which-
just Clara's running around blasting the Sonic, isn't she, to like
oh yeah, to
lure it in.
yeah. And they attract it to the Doctor's mansion cupboard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I know Danny's a soldier.
Yeah.
I know he's physically fit. He does the cadets. It's great and all.
There's no way.
There was no trampoline board.
There is no way a human can do that.
That he had some lift.
He had a lift of about what, 4 foot?
Yeah.
There's no way.
But he did it. He did like this unbelievable
Massive front flip over the Scovot splitzer, dodging all the lasers, landed on his feet, which is impressive enough.
Yeah.
Didn't
He
fall
eat shit
over.
and then fall
Yeah,
over.
yeah, he didn't land in his mouth.
Some artist out there, please. I want it.
Yeah. Very dashing,
Yeah.
very strange.
Yeah.
I would have believed it if it was like Jack Harkness.
Yes.
100%. But
Because you could argue that that's some kind of like when Rose says, "I bring life and trampoline life."
yeah. It's got extra tendons or
Yeah.
something to give him a kangaroo voice.
He's like one of those weird things you get in a Christmas cracker. You know those little smiley head things that you like push down
Yeah.
on the table and just boing.
Well, like a tiddlywinker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but no.
No.
Um,
Honestly, it was ridiculous, but I loved it.
The thing that comes to mind, and again, quite a niche reference. I don't know how familiar you are, especially because they've become quite problematic films of late. But the early James Bond films,
Oh, yeah.
Roger Moore's run, where I think it's The Man with the Golden Gun, where he's in the car with the redneck police officer.
Yes.
And for whatever reason, he's like, we can't just drive and follow them on the opposite side of the stream. I see this bullshit bridge, and I'm going to
gonna
do
just
a
go,
fucking
whee!
flip.
Yeah.
And they even add in the
Yeah, the noise.
Oh, it's horrible. But
It's
brilliant.
awful.
Yeah,
But
and that's
we
what I
love it.
felt when I saw that, because it's just
Oh,
as horrible.
It's awful.
And I can't even remember how the robots. Oh no, because
He's
he
made
buys,
his like little voice machine, isn't
Yes.
he? Yeah, and he gives it orders.
powers it up, and he gives it orders to stop or whatever. to
Yeah,
power
literally
down.
to stop, to power down. Yeah, because it
Um,
starts to initiate self-destruct mode, which
Yes.
is going to destroy everything. So yeah, gets him to stop.
Yeah, and
It's a little bit anticlimactic.
yes, for the most dangerous thing. in
The most
universe.
dangerous robot in the universe just needs to be told to stop by its commanding officer, and then it's done. But
Yeah.
I suppose it just all harks back to the whole soldier general vibe that they're trying to
Yeah.
go for the whole series.
I mean, for
episode.
for the sake of enjoyability, I don't think I would have enjoyed more of a lead up to the defeat, because that may have even led into a double episode, and I didn't want that for
Yes,
this.
no, this was not deserving of a double
No.
episode.
Um,
Yeah, it
And-
needed to be done, didn't
yeah.
it? So
And doesn't it then kind of cut to the Doctor then depositing this thing just randomly into space,
yes,
and he's taken
he's taken Courtney. He's
Because-
taken the disruptive influence.
because no way back. I don't think the Doctor had to involve her that heavily.
Hadn't he met her a second time earlier on and shown her the inside of the TARDIS? Because it was just before parents' evening, and she
Oh.
was like, "It's the end of the world for me, whatever." And then
the
he
Doctor-
shows her the inside of the TARDIS, and she asks for a trip, and he said maybe later. So I think that's just a
Okay,
little-
yeah, because he's rather dismissingly said, "Oh, I might have some vacancy."
Yeah, yeah,
He's
he's
already
just-
thinking about kicking Clara.
yeah, he's just decided Clara isn't going to come back because
Yeah.
he reckons she's going to stay with the boyfriend.
Yeah. Okay, so that does kind of arc back to something that I failed to mention when they have the initial bust up in the assembly hall. The Doctor has not a great moment. Well, Doctor has several not great moments in this episode.
Yeah.
But it's the bit
He's
where
not the friendliest, is he? Right now?
No, but he's quite presumptuous in this, where he says, "Oh, you've explained me to Danny, but you haven't explained Danny to me."
Yeah.
It's like, why?
Yeah.
What
It's
authority do you have to need this explained?
Yeah, I don't know.
It seems very old. For want of a better word, very kind of immediately post World War II father figure.
Yeah.
Where it's like you need to ask for permission.
Explain
and things
yourself,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's.
But then I suppose the thought of Danny kind of put them in danger with regards to the Listen episode.
Yeah.
Because if he hadn't cropped up into Clara's mind, they wouldn't have ended up going to the end of the universe. And
But can you blame
getting
Danny for that? Because that was Clara's.
I can't blame Danny for that at all. No, that's for the one occasion when you can't blame Danny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can understand where the Doctor's coming from with regards to wanting to know why this man has had such an impact in their travels without him knowing that
But
he's
it's just
had
a
it.
horrible way that
It's
he
an
conveyed
awful
it.
way to put it. Yeah. It's very much you are in trouble
Yeah.
when he doesn't really have the authority to say that at all.
And also that you have to explain your personal decisions to
me. Yeah.
Like, I've had friends who have had partners that initially I didn't think it was a great match, or that the union may have happened too quick, or that they hadn't really thought about it. And although I privately sat them down and just had a quite light conversation with them, but
Yeah.
I've never been like,
Explain yourself to me. No.
Because I have no right.
No. It's just, I think it's another, I don't know, not necessarily lazy bit of writing, but a little bit of an on-the-nose bit of writing that he's in charge and angry in this series.
But could it also be maybe a bit of good writing? And I'm thinking because this
Maybe.
again is like it portrays the Doctor as an alien again.
Yeah, it
That
gives him that.
he believes he has this authority, and that everyone needs to answer to him.
Yeah.
And that he can't comprehend that someone can make that decision
Yeah.
for themselves.
Yeah, possibly. It's a bit of a weird one.
It is.
Like, very strange to have.
And he's still not great with Danny, because even though Clara's like, oh, you wanted me to kind of explain it, Danny, to you, Danny did just save the world, and his only response was, yeah, that's a good start.
It's a good start, yeah. I wasn't ever sure if that was the Doctor actually maybe starting to like Danny a little bit, or at least having some sort of level of respect for him.
Yeah, I mean, the way I kind of saw it was him willing to open up to the ability to maybe start to take that in.
Yeah, accepting the fact that Clara is with this guy and
Yeah.
he's going to have to live with that because he has no say in it.
Yeah.
Because he tried to have a say in it by getting Danny to leave him alone and it didn't work. So I think he's kind of throwing his hands up a little bit and been like, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I don't have to like it, but I'll deal with it right now. I don't know.
But I think that's more or less that episode.
I think so. I think we have, Clara and Danny kind of agree that Clara's probably still going to go on trips and stuff.
Oh shit! No, we missed a thing.
Did we miss a thing? What thing did we miss?
Missed a thing. So.
Oh, we missed a thing!
Fuck!
We did miss a thing! We go back to PC Plot.
Yes, we do. So, the officer is having a rather fun conversation. Has this actor been in other things? The one who's
He's a
on this?
comedian, isn't he?
Yeah.
I can't remember who he
Oh, was he on like Mock the Week? Or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's his bloody name? Skinny, curly-haired guy.
Yeah. I thought I recognised him.
Yeah.
Actually, but it is that.
He is a comedian, yeah.
And the police officer's like, yeah, it was such a fun time, Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Huh.
Don't remember how I got out of there.
How I got out of there. And the guy's like, ha, funny thing. You didn't.
You actually didn't.
He starts to panic and question where he is, and then we get that kind of nice ravel off of, there's lots of different names for it. People call it the afterlife and things like that.
Yeah.
And then
He calls it the nether sphere, doesn't he? That he likes
yes.
the term nether sphere.
Which I do too.
I quite like it. I think it's a nice one.
And both of their attentions are drawn to a lady that we've seen previously. She walks in. It's an odd look that she has on her face. It's not panicked, it's not sadness, it's just kind of like her mind's elsewhere.
Yeah, it's almost dejected, isn't it? And she's just very not interested in what's going on. And just
Yeah, to
wanders
which
off.
even he says, like, oh, she's a bit busy at the moment.
Yeah.
Because it's different to what we've seen before. It's not in the garden, it's this very kind of
White Office, isn't it?
Yeah, Bruce Almighty-esque.
Yeah, very much.
Eternal hallway.
Very much, and she's very different to how we've seen her before. She's not la.
Yeah, she's not
Happy
quite
clappy, yeah.
Moriarty-esque.
No, she's
very reserved.
done. Yeah.
I
I don't think we ever find out why. I don't think we ever find out why.
Don't know, because without spoilers or anything like that, there's nothing to suggest that there's been any action that's been taken by certain people within the episode that would cause her any kind of worry.
Yeah, no, I don't think there is there?
Don't know. But again, I don't think we've seen her or this purgatory area since Into the Dark.
Yeah, I think that was the last time we saw it with the soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bit of sizzle.
Yeah.
I do like that they're being a bit more sparing with this, because like a good example of when they weren't would be the crack in Matt Smith's first season, where it was just everywhere.
Yeah. Even like at the end of the episode where the TARDIS dematerialised and the cracks just randomly in the wall.
I think the most egregious one is on Starship UK.
Oh God.
It's
Yeah.
just on its hull.
Just like, oh come on. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that was the little bit of sizzle that we missed at the end of the episode.
We did. Can't believe we missed that.
I know! I was getting to it, and for whatever reason it was just obliterated out of my mind. But yeah, that is not a great episode.
It's not. No.
Docky Who. But I suppose it's getting Danny involved and...
Yeah, which is going to be helpful later. But
yeah,
it was all right. There were a
Yeah.
couple of funny bits, but I think on the whole it was just serving a purpose of Danny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really.
But yeah, so thank you so much for watching maybe or
Maybe,
listening to episode 6 of Never Ever Eat Pears. Please don't, for your own safety.
I've got two sitting here right now.
I know, and I'm worried for you.
Yeah, it's scary.
I'm sure there are no more. And
I don't know if I trust you anymore.
if you have any comments, do whack them in the comments section, whether it's on Spotify. We're hoping to get this a bit more widely distributed. So if you have any Whovian friends out there that don't mind, for whatever reason, starting with the 12th Doctor as a rewatch podcast, please introduce them to it, because it would be a lot of fun to build up a bit of a community with you guys.
Yeah.
But until the next time, we are very much heading into time and space.
Hey.
Moisturize me, moisturize me.